I'll be the first to admit, it might sound a little bit unrealistic to actually retire in your 20s. We're taught that all of our lives we're supposed to graduate high school, go to college, get a degree, and then work all of the best years of your life until you're too old to really enjoy it. And while the plan of retiring in your 20s may just sound like a clickbait YouTube title, it is very possible, and not only possible to retire early, but much earlier than what society teaches us we can. Instead, we're taught this idea that we can't leave work for more than like a week or two a year. That is, until we're too old to really enjoy it. Our backs hurt, we can't see, we can't hear. Most of our friends have died at this point. I mean, that doesn't sound like the free time I would want. Not being able to hike the pyramids or explore Machu Picchu, learn salsa dancing, or many of the other things that we dream to do with our free time. Waking up every morning, working 8+ hours a day, eating, doing chores, and sleeping, all on repeat. And if you think about it, you spend 1/3 of your life sleeping, 1/3 of your life working, and only have 1/3 left, most of which you don't get until you're 65 or older. Well, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way. I've got a retirement plan that's based off of those who have already achieved financial independence, retire early, or as we love to call it, FIRE. Oh, shit. Dude, cut that off. And I have personally made quite a bit of progress towards this goal myself in the last year. I started really thinking about financial independence in my teenage years. So whenever I was 19, I went in and got pre-approved. Buying a house was gonna be my first step to financial independence. My parents had never owned a house, and I thought that was a great way to get started, and then eventually buying more and more houses until I had thousands of dollars in passive income. But with the wages I was making at that time, I did the math, and it was gonna take 5+ years for me to save up a down payment for another house. And to reach financial independence was gonna take me decades. This is when I realized that I was gonna have to increase my income. Making $30,000 a year over here at the bank versus starting my own business as a real estate agent, I was able to make $100,000 that year in my first year in real estate. So that's the answer, right? All you gotta do is get your real estate license, get a high-paying job, and you can retire early. Not exactly, because there are plenty of real estate agents and business owners that are still working in their 70s just to make ends meet. So just getting a high-paying job isn't enough to determine whether or not you're going to be financially independent. It's also where you put that money. My financial independence retire early goal was to make $10,000 per month in passive income from my real estate investments. And this was gonna be enough to allow me to not only quit my job, but then I could also pursue a career in music. I could travel the world and really do whatever the heck else I wanted with my time. But the problem was that even though I was making multiple 6 figures in my real estate business, I was really struggling to acquire more rental properties. I had only found one other rental property in that 4-year period of time, and I just kept saving all of the high income I was making for the right opportunity to come along. And in the last 6 months, even though they say that we're in the highest market in history, that there's absolutely no deals to be found, and that tenants aren't paying rent and whatever else, I've still been able to acquire 6 rental units in the last 6 months, putting me at a total of 7 units. Even in a semi-expensive West Coast market like I'm in right now, there are still deals. You just have to be patient and have the resources available to take advantage of those deals when they come up. So let's just break down the numbers so you can see how these 7 units are gonna affect my retirement income. So we have $7,900 in gross rents coming in every month from these 7 units. $4,100 goes towards the monthly payments, taxes, and insurance. That's a total of $3,800 a month in passive income. Even if we calculate in 5% for maintenance costs, 5% for capital expenditures, 5% for vacancy, and 8% for property management, if you decide to hire one instead of managing yourself, that still leaves you with almost $2,000 a month in positive cash flow, even being ultra conservative and calculating in all those other numbers. The cash flow that these 7 units are gonna be producing is gonna bring me just under $24,000 a year in passive income, which is only a few $1,000s less than just a handful of years ago whenever I was working full-time 40+ hours a week in a cubicle at my bank job. Which means realistically, I'm only a year or 2 away from hitting lean fire if I wanted to live off of those couple $1,000s a month. So how can you start to do the same? Acquire rental units, start collecting those passive income checks, and retire while you're still in your 20s. Well, we're gonna go ahead and hop into some action steps that you can take to start on that journey. The first thing that we need to focus on is increasing your income. When I first decided that I was gonna start investing in real estate, it was clear that I did not make enough money at my day job to actually get started. The first step is gonna be focusing on getting your wages up and increasing your net worth so that you're in a position to make investments that actually move the needle forward. I personally think that the best way to get your income to that high level is by starting a business. Or if you've already gone through college and have a good day job and a good salary, maybe doing that along with some side hustles on the weekend, that sort of thing, to sock away as much money as you can so that you can afford the down payments on these different properties as you continue to build your real estate portfolio. So now that you've increased your income, the next step is to decrease your expenses. Every dollar that you make today could be worth 10x by retirement age if invested wisely. And if you actually want to retire in your 20s, you are gonna have to make some sacrifices. The higher you get your income, the easier it's gonna be to save more and more money. I'm not a huge supporter of the idea of cut out your coffees and cut out your fun or what have you. I think that those things are very important, but I think as you increase your income in the first step, you'll see that there's a number where your lifestyle doesn't really change over that. For you, it might be 50,000, 75,000, 100,000, whatever it is. Anything over that amount, you should be putting away and saving and keeping your expenses low. The only problem with this is if you start making more money and you also start spending more money, you start to see that lifestyle inflation. So while you may have more trips and more eating out and maybe a nicer car, your bank account and your investments still look exactly the same. And unfortunately, that is the sad truth for most people. Every time they get a raise, somehow they still don't have any money on their bank account because their spending increases along with their income. To retire in your 20s, you're gonna have to keep your expenses low relative to your income. Next, you're gonna take that money you've been saving and invest it. Invest it wisely or else you'll end up with just a fraction of what you could have. To make sure you're investing wisely, you're gonna have to treat it like there's some sort of big test that you're studying for. You're gonna be reading books, you're gonna be listening to podcasts, you're gonna be watching a bunch of YouTube videos and doing whatever it takes to become a real estate investing badass. And then the trick is just to jump, make the plunge and make some things happen. You're gonna have to take action. One of my favorite strategies is to just buy a home that you're gonna move into. I mean, I think that that's a great start. You can rent out the other bedrooms, or if you could buy like a triplex and live in one unit and rent out the other two. But if you're actually living in the property, you can get in with a very low percentage down, sometimes as little as 3% down. Now, once you've lived there for a year, you can go ahead and buy another one and then rent out that unit and do the same thing here. And you can do that once a year. And if you do that throughout your 20s, just buying one house a year and using that strategy I just talked about, that may be enough to make you a millionaire in just that one tip. And I know some of you guys are thinking, man, how the heck am I supposed to save up all this money for down payment? And again, the first step is gonna be getting your income up. Next step is decreasing your expenses. You can't be spending all of that income and then investing the difference. It's really not that much depending on the market that you're in. And if you are in a really expensive market, you can always invest out of state as well, to where a lot of times you can gain control of a physical real estate asset, a building, for as little as a handful of thousands, $10,000. And you guys can definitely do that. That's something that that is in your future and something that you are going to make happen. Are there other ways to become a millionaire and retire early? Yes, there are, and there are plenty of examples of people who have actually just invested in the stock market. You know, first they got their income up and invested every extra penny they had in the stock market and were also retired by 30. However, I see real estate as the easiest, most simple thing that anybody can do, anybody can understand, and it is a tangible asset. And my net worth has gone up to over 700,000 now just in the last few years by not only selling real estate, but mostly by investing in real estate. And that's why I truly believe that real estate is the best investment vehicle to get you retired while still in your 20s. So if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that like button. And for a limited time, I am gonna offer a free month subscription to my OnlyFans account. No, I'm just kidding. I don't even have an OnlyFans. But if you would like the video, it would be much appreciated. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to follow us on the journey to real estate millionaire. But I gotta go. My retirement's calling, so I will see you guys later.